Okay, now we will look at the chosen assessment tool for this teaching and learning session. How do we assess listening and speaking skills in the classroom using the Little Red Riding Hood role play? We have chosen the assessment tool, which is rubric. Okay, as you can see here, what is a rubric? According to Wolf and Stevens, 2007, rubric is a scoring tool used to evaluate a performance in a given outcome area based on a list of criteria describing the characteristics of a product or performance at varying levels of accomplishment. So this means that we have chosen rubric to assess our pupils' performance in terms of their speaking and listening skills. So we can look whether the pupils have implemented the correct criteria to speak and listen carefully. Okay, why rubric? Why our group has chosen rubric as the assessment tool for this teaching and learning session? The first one, rubric enables teachers to evaluate students' performance in situations that more closely replicate real life than an isolated test. What do we mean by enable teachers to evaluate performance that is closely related to real life? It means that listening and speaking is a skill that you implement in your daily life situations. So we have to see whether the pupils can relate or apply the skills that they learn in class in their real life. So rubric is very important. Rubric can be used to evaluate the pupils' skills. And the second one, why we chose a rubric, it is to assess their speaking and listening skills. Okay, next we have chosen analytic rubric. Inside analytic rubric, there is criteria has been listed that the pupils need to fulfill the criteria in order to achieve a good speaking and listening skills. We have come to the point where is the implementation of rubric in our teaching and learning session. How do we implement using rubric as an assessment tool in our classroom? The first one, we will implement the usage of rubric during the practice stage. The teacher will observe the pupils' planning and preparation within their group. I will show you how the rubric will be used in our next slide. And the second one, how they work as a group in practicing the dialogue. They will be assessed on their group work, their cooperation and collaboration. They will be assessed based on the rubric. And the second one, this rubric will be used during the production stage. All the groups will perform their role play, and then the teacher will assess the criteria while doing the role play. When do we use this rubric? Okay, as you can see, the third and the fourth steps. Okay, so here we will use the rubric to assess their cooperation and collaboration in their group, whether they cooperated or they didn't cooperate. We are going to assess their teamwork skills using the rubric. The fourth one is the procedure during the production stage, which is the pupil will perform the role play using the Little Red Riding Hood. This is where we are going to assess them according to the criteria of listening and speaking skills. Showing you right now is the rubric sample, the one that we are going to use during our teaching and learning session. There are 4 levels in this analytic rubric. Level 1, beginner. Level 2, average. Level 3, proficient. And level 4, exemplary. And the score there, if the pupil had fulfilled any of those levels, the teacher will give the score based on 1 till 5. If the pupil fulfilled level 1, they will be given score 1. Level 2, score 2. Level 3, score 3. Level 4, score 4 or 5. The first criteria is cooperation. Level 1, beginner, the group members work together minimally. and they were often off task when working. It means that there are not much cooperation in the group. And then off task means that they often divert their attention. They were doing something else, like they're playing or they're not doing the work. So the teacher can choose level 1 for those groups that didn't do their work, and level 2, the group members that work moderately and they were off task sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. Level 3, the most group members actively work together to accomplish the task, which means all the group members contribute and work together in order to practice the dialogues for the role play. And for level 4, exemplary, all the group members actively work together in a timely manner. In a timely manner means they finish the task within the time given. Okay, with criteria 2 is facial expression and body language. Okay, so level 1 rarely expresses or using suitable and entertaining facial expression and gestures, and it goes on. Like the second, level 2 seldom expresses emotion, which means that the pupil uses facial expressions but at seldom time. And then the third level usually uses, and the exemplary level, level 4, they always expresses emotions using facial expressions and gestures. If the teacher assesses the pupils and the teacher sees that the pupils uses facial expressions all the time in their role play, it means that that group deserves to be awarded level 4, exemplary. Okay, and then the third criteria is posture and eye contact. If the group that perform the role play shows no use of correct posture and no eye contact with other characters or the audience, level 1 achievement. But if they seldom use the correct posture and eye contact, they can reward the group with a level 2. Or if they often use correct posture and eye contact, they can reward the pupils with level 3. And lastly, if the group shows active and appropriate use of postures, which means, for example, if the pupil stand up straight and didn't block the other characters' view from the audience, and they made eye contact with other characters and also the audience, so it means that the group deserves to be rewarded at level 4, exemplary. And then the next criteria is clarity of speech. Level 1, if the pupil frequently mumbles, okay, and the speech is not clear or they mispronounce more than 5 words, the pupils will be rewarded with level 1. If the mumbles are a little bit, there are slight mumbles and more than 3 mispronounced words, they will be given level 2. If there are no mumbles at all and the mispronounced words are not more than 3, they will be rewarded with level 3. And also, if there are no mumbles at all and the speech is clear, distinct, and the mispronounced word is not more than 2, then they deserve to be rewarded with a level 4. Okay, we come to the 2 last criteria for this rubric. Intonation. If the pupil give a monotonous intonation, they deserve to be at level 1. Okay, but if they seldom use of falling and rising intonation, level 2. But if there are frequent use of falling and rising intonation, they will be rewarded with level 4. And then the last speaking skills, speaking and listening skills will be assessed using this rubric when there are criteria such as voice projection. If the pupil produces poor and soft sound and their voice are not clear, they will be only given level 1. But if their listening and speaking skills is good and their voice projection is loud and clear, And consistent projection of voice, it means they consistently project their voice at the right time, at the right place, so they are rewarded with level 4. And the teacher can use this rubric or the score that they have been given for each criteria, sum up all the scores, and then per 30. If the groups obtain full score, they will get 30, and so on. If they don't get the full score, they only get less than 30.